Hey fellow comrades, how you guys been doing? It's your boys in here and welcome back to our newest Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have a match against Skyrander, our buddy Chistopher. And I also have a question of the day for you guys. How you guys feel about the IGN's latest review of Pokemon Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby? Let me know in the comment section below, but please do not overdo it. You know, I don't feel that the person needs to get fired because this... let's be serious here, but generally, you know, let me know how you feel about it. And with that being said, let's go directly into it. So he's gonna lead with a U-turn lead, Choice Bandit. I was expecting him to do something else. I did not expect him to be Choice Bandit, but that is what Skyrander is. He's a really creative player, and you should definitely watch out for him. So go check him out after this match is done. He's got great content, a great guy, a great battler, all around, great stuff. Anyways, basically I have to switch out. He switches out Hippowdon afterwards. He's gonna switch out to Scoutland because the Sandstorm, he's gonna gain that +2, and that is a threat, ladies and gentlemen. That is a huge problem as it does way too much damage, as I was underestimating Scoutland's potential power. I've used this Pokemon before, but I was thinking maybe it's Life Orb and maybe he's gonna fail to take me down to Ogro. Let's see, maybe I can take 2. I unfortunately cannot because of max attack, max HP. And as you can see, if I would have Wood Hammer there with Ogro, I would have just straight up one-shot him. But I didn't do that, so that was huge. Anyways, I switch out to Latias afterwards, go for the Mega Evolution, gain that bulk to take on the Scoutland at least once, and retaliate with the Dragon Pulse. He does review the Meloetta, which seems to be holding Assault Vest, for he takes this a little bit too well. But we're gonna try to wish upon the stars right now. He's gonna go for the Hyper Voice. We do have that light screen support, so it's giving us some momentum to a certain extent. And afterwards we're gonna switch out to Raikou because I need that wish. I know he's got Hippowdon, and Hippowdon sorta stops Raikou. I do have Hidden Bar Eyes, but I'm not gonna be doing much. I still feel like if I can gain the wish, then I can properly handle and kind of try to get some of my past mistakes to kind of go you know, below and try to handle and solve my past mistakes. So he's gonna go for Hyper Voice. He's just trying to wear me down. I put up the dual screen. While I do have the dual screen support, I feel like maybe I should switch out to Manaphy and try to set up. Basically, this is a testing team, and it's a really questionable one because I do have dual screen Raikou with Light Clay. But the thing is, my team is not set up. It doesn't have, like, basically outside of Manaphy, nothing else sets up. And that I feel is really bad. It's a testing team, and I should definitely modify it a little bit further to improve it, to sharpen it, to make it a little bit more threatening towards the other opponents, because it feels that it's missing way too much for its own good. So I go for the Ice Beam right now, expecting Heliolisk, expecting the Water move, trying to get that Dry Skin and kind of try to Volt Switch afterwards, just trying to troll me a little bit, force me to make mispredictions and whatnot. But unfortunately, Ice Beam fails to take him out because I'm actually max speed and max HP. He was probably having the idea of running the max HP, seeing how well I took the Earthquake, but I'm not too sure if he was actually expecting me to be max speed, you know, but it makes sense. But at the same time, if I was a little bit invested in special attack, I would have probably one-shot this because the +3 would have really made the difference in the special attack area, you know, and stuff could have been pretty bad for him. But anyways, he's gonna go for the Scald. He's gonna manage to fish and gain that burn. It's quite incredible. I mean, Scald is one of those moves that you don't care about the damage you do, you just fish for the burn. At least I do. And it seems to happen a lot. It seems to happen more than when comparing to Love Disc, you know, gaining and trying to search for those heart scales. They have like 50%. I seem to get more burns than I get those heart scales in the wall areas. Yes, but ladies and gentlemen, he's just gonna go for the Scald again. He is just fishing. He is really fishing. And luckily he is taking that Dragon Pulse quite well to where he can take another one. But I believe I'm just going to be playing it safe. I'm going to need to play it offensive. I was kind of a bit scared of him potentially running Toxic on his Slowbro, but he doesn't. So I'm just going to go for the Dragon Pulse to see how much I can do. I don't do enough. I seem to fail short just because I'm max HP and max speed. Again, I seem to understand I have EV spreads a little bit questionable, just because, you know, if you want to play a defensive role, I should probably just have bulk investment. But then again, you know, sometimes you want to have that speed default, you know, just in case. He does manage to get that freeze on me very bad. I did review the Reflect type, which was not the moment to review it, to be perfectly honest, but I really wanted to. Reflect type basically copies the opponent's typing and give it to yourself. So basically on that turn I was a ground type, but it was still super effective damage. Plus at the same time I was kind of hoping he doesn't have Ice Fang, but he does. Scoutland's gonna come in, trying to get advantage of the freeze on my Latios as fast as possible as I switch out to Manaphy. He can easily outspeed me because of the +2. He's such a threat. It's not even funny facing this Pokemon. I've used it before, love using it. He is incredibly strong. If you don't have the right type of team to handle it, which I sort of lack right now, stuff can get bad, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't want to risk Tauros, you know, surviving and retaliating, so he switches out to Slowbro, you know, a safer option. But generally, ladies and gentlemen, we managed to get rid of his own freeze he input onto us. That hacks he got onto us, we managed to take advantage of his actions and get rid of it all. So that was incredible. Scald really does show. If you got Scald, if you have Frozen Solid but you have Scald on your moveset, you will get rid of it. For it melts the ice that was covering our Mega Latios back then. So basically he managed to yet again fish for the burn and gaining it right there, right then, which is bad because basically this already lacks leftovers because it's a Mega with that additional bulk. At the same time it is burned, so residual are gonna be happening with every single turn into the matter, making me forced to think twice before acting. So I do go for the Wish right now. I do manage to take the Shadow Ball. He didn't really review Shadow Ball before, so I was kind of asking myself maybe he doesn't have it, but he does have it. As you guys can see, he does take me out. You know, the burn basically takes me out. The Shadow Ball kind of failed, which is kind of surprising because I believe he told me that he was invested in special attack, and yeah, that was pretty incredible. Saltfest Meloetta is a problem, but I managed to take it. With Raikou, managed to gain that Wish. But it was kind of a bit, you know, basically that was his mistake because he should have Psy Shock. Maybe he was expecting me to Volt Switch, but I was in no position. I wanted to gain that screens while there's still time, and Psy Shock would take me out because Raikou's defense is much more frail than his special defense, so he would have easily taken me down even if I decided to put up the Reflect on that turn. I switch out to Moltres to take anything from him. With Telvo with the Fire Blast, I do manage to take it out, and it's only a question of whether or not he thinks I'm Scarf. Even if I am, he's gonna outspeed me because he's also running Scarf, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Scarf, Heliolisk, I don't really see this thing being Scarf, but seeing the surprise factor, I can definitely understand. And it definitely took me by surprise, as I'm gonna go for Fire Blast again, just keep on spamming it. Fortunately, Slowbro takes it a little bit too well while I'm modest, and Slowbro does gain the Regenerate. He can just switch out. Slowbro is so good. I've used this Pokemon in my Litleo and it is so good. Regenerate is one of the best, if not the best ability in the game, right up there with Multiscale and Magic Guard and Wonder Guard and all those amazing abilities. But anyways, I'm gonna go for the Volt Switch, basically because this thing came in. Maybe he was expecting just to regain all that lost HP, maybe he was sacking this Heliolisk, or maybe he was expecting me to switch out. Either way, I do take the serve, I go for the Volt Switch. I had to switch out because I believe the light screen is still up. I'm gonna take anything from Heliolisk, so he has to switch out, but the Slowbro is gonna take this way too well for my own comfort, and I'm gonna need to try to play this a little bit differently because generally stuff are really looking bad. He's got Scoutland, he's got Hippowdon still with a reasonable amount of health, and then he's got Slowbro which regenerate with basically all of his HP being taken back, like basically nothing ever happened. So Reflect wears off, Light Screen wears off. He was stalling my screens at some point as well, and he definitely succeeded at it. I'm gonna switch out to Moltres to try to expect the Earthquake, but he does make the smart move, go for Rock Slide. Unfortunately, he does miss. My Moltres does manage to avoid, and you're gonna see a turn of craziness right now. Fire Blast avoids while I avoid. This is insane. This is definitely insane. Now, what I expect, you know, it's because of the sandstorm. All this sand in our eyes, basically making us both quite blind. Well, I just can't understand the percentage in that. 90% missed twice and 85%. That was all in a row, ladies and gentlemen. Like, give me percentage for that. My math sucks, but please do give me percentage. Like, what are the percentages in that happening? 2 times 90 and 1 time 85, you know, straight in a row. That was insane. Heliolisk coming in, he probably was sacking it, maybe hoping I can take, you know, he can take at least one move from me, but he cannot. Fire Blast, Moltres is way too strong, and he does crit me with Scoutland afterwards. Outspeed me, even if I'm Scarf. Scoutland does have the +2, mostly outspeeding every single Scarfer out there, outside of the fastest, the absolute fastest Pokemon with Scarf, which basically never really happens. But Raikou's gonna come in, he's gonna take me down. I was not expecting him to stay in, I was expecting the Hippowdon, that's why I set up the screen, the Reflect. basically. I was expecting the Hippowdon, expect the Volt Switch, but then again, thinking about it, maybe Volt Switch would fail to take down the Scoutland, because Scoutland does possess some reasonable amount of bulk, and I believe that goes for both defense and special defense, but then again, I cannot seem to say for certain. I believe it's 90 in both fields, isn't it? Again, it's been a while when I last used it or checked its stats, but I know 100 space attack and decent HP and a really good speed. Yeah, he's got somewhere around 90 speed if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, I'm gonna go for Toxic, expecting him to slack off. He doesn't go for the slack off. You know, it's just the way I have to go right now. I have to pressure him. Unfortunately, Rock Climb doesn't do enough. And I believe I do have the Life Orb on this as well. As he's gonna go for the... basically, no, I don't have the Life Orb. I believe I have the Weakness Policy, which is so off. I know what you guys are thinking. Why would you run that? But I actually have Weakness Policy with Reflect. I can take the Fight move. And then with +2 I can pretty much destroy fighting types like Rapushin and whatnot on that same turn. But then again, it wouldn't happen because Rapushin would have been slower than me. So I take that back. Actually, that's kind of strange. I should definitely not run Weakness Policy on Tauros, because I'm failing to destroy anything because of it. Rocky Helmet is gonna take me out, and that's gonna be the game for today. So that was a match against Chistopher. Great match, man. I enjoyed it very much. You definitely got me there looking at it. Meloetta was not a threat. Heliolisk also, yeah, it sort of was. But Slowbro and Hippowdon, Scoutland, those three were just generally giving me problems left and right. And yeah, that was the game. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. With that, I also want to go directly to the question of the day. How do I feel about IGN, basically the person reviewing the game? Honestly, looking at it, the score was okay. 7.8, it's a good score. I just feel like the negatives, the nitpicky things, because that is how I feel about it. I feel like the person that was reviewing, that was mentioning negatives, the cons, were really, really nitpicky. And basically what a person would expect from remakes to begin with. You know, generally we got HMs. The person told us there's too many HMs. And I'm really, really surprised, because this is a remake, and you know, basically all Ruby and Emerald and Sapphire all had lots of HMs. That we had Dive and you know, basically Surf and Fly and Strink and Cut and all those things. So it's only to be expected for the remakes to have this. And no matter how many we have, we got other ways to get rid of them. And it's a thing. HMs are a big part of the Pokemon franchise. I believe only in the first generation couldn't you get rid of the HMs, but later on you could definitely get rid of them. It's just a questionable thing on how we look at this now as a con, as a negative thing. You know, HMs, when somebody say HMs, a person says Pokemon. So being a huge part of the Pokemon franchise as it is, why is it a problem now? Is it because, you know, it's frustrating to go through areas? I understand, but HMs tend to limit you, tend to block you from further progressing. They're there for a reason, and they have always been there for a reason. They're staying the same to their own formula, and I like that. I do. The one thing I will not understand to put into your cons, it's way too much water. Now the reason I'm saying this is because, well, basically way too much water, so IGN would pretty much review a human being as, you know, 1 out of 10, because we are made as way too much water in us, right? Oh, this world of ours, way too much water. Graphics are incredible still. No, but let's put the jokes aside. I feel like being a remake, basically Ruby and Sapphire were all filled with water. They have like small little islands. It's filled with water. It's a bitchy game. I also call it with lots of blue. That's how I used to call it. It was a really bright environment, much less grimmer than the other ones. Maybe because the graphic limitations the other ones have back in the days. But generally, it had that bright, happy feeling just because the water that it was surrounded with. And now, being that it's a remake, what did you expect? You did say you played the older version, and now you say there's way too much water, which is funny because Hoenn had a hell of a lot of water, and being it's a remake, were you expecting more land? Because how does that work? It's a remake. It should have that same vibe. It should have that same structure, that same terrain. So that is really beyond me. I don't know how to feel about that. But guys, let me know, how do you feel about the review? I feel like the score was okay. Really nitpicky. I really don't understand how they can just put it like from 10 to 7, 8 just because those two. but I feel like there should be a little bit more detail into it. The reviewer should put a little bit more time into it and just generally look at things a little bit more. There was basically not much to say outside of the incredibly simplistic things. I don't know, I feel like the review was like a little bit half-baked and rushed and, you know, not too rich enough. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, the battle for today, and with that being said, I catch you guys next time. Take care. Peace.